Hey everyone, it's Aubrey, recovering perfectionist, queen of distraction, and today we are taking our playroom from this to something better. It hasn't happened yet.
Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy now.
If you were with me a few months ago when I originally tackled this room, this was my oldest son's bedroom. And since then, my 9-year-old and my 3-year-old sons have been sharing one bedroom, and this bedroom has become the playroom. I did have a fantasy of turning this into just a small master bedroom, but I don't know if that's in the cards. I really just don't have the mental capacity for that project right now. Maybe someday, but not today. So for now, this is the playroom. And while originally when I made that transition to the boys sharing a bedroom, I did go through all of their toys. The time period that I had done all that was not too far after Christmas and the boys' birthdays, which are in October and November. So toys were still fresh. Since then, I feel like I have a much better idea of the things that they're actually playing with, especially since we have put pretty much all of the toys in here. It's a challenge to decide what to part with and what to keep when you have a 9-year-old and when you have a 3-year-old and all that space in between. So while, my 9-year-old might be growing out of toys, I can't help but think like, okay, this is something that my youngest might like to play with someday, but he's not necessarily ready for it now. So without further ado, we are going to just get things tidier in here than they are. There are a few things that I want to talk about specifically. The tiny kitchen, which I have mentioned in a couple of videos past. I don't know what I want to do with it. Oh, the chaos. The reason the room looks like this was because we had yet another play date where I wasn't like, hey, let's clean up before we go outside. And next thing you know, the play date's over and here we are. But that was my own fault for not initiating that. My oldest son wasn't even here for that play date. And as far as my youngest goes, this is overstimulating for me. I'm not even going to attempt to put his poor little brain through that. So I'm going to shut up now and we're gonna just get to some general tidying. Let's go. Okie dokie. So let's take a moment to chat about this Wii Kitchen. This was really not cute. It was like $15 at Habitat for Humanity. And I was with a friend who, I don't want to say she convinced me that my boys needed a kitchen. I don't think I would have followed through with the purchase, but it was a really fun art project. She and I jazzed this thing up and it's pretty darn cute. It was a fun flip. But my hopes and dreams of my boys, I don't know, especially my youngest one, who at the time was 2, or was he 2.5? I don't know. Anyway, they don't play with it. They don't play with it. The only children who play with this are my 2 nieces, the neighbor girl, and my friend's daughter, and basically any other small girl who comes into our home. And yes, sometimes the boys will be involved with that play, but really, if my boys are doing any kind of kitchen stuff, they're doing it in the actual kitchen. There's really no pretend kitchen or house playing going on with my boys. And in my mind, I have over the years trained myself to believe that my children need to have the opportunity for pretend play, and we need to have little construction hats and little vests and fake mops. And I want to get rid of it, but I know that if I do, it's going to be a thing, even though it's not played with. So a thought that I have is I could just put this outside. It could be a mud kitchen. It could go out in our swing set. It has a little door and a wee little house kind of situation underneath. I could put it there. I could put it in our sandbox. But then, the other alternative is I do keep it in the house. And I continue to clean up the stuff from the kitchen after people play and leave. And my children don't play with it, and it just lives here and takes up their everyday play space. And I have this debate over and over and over and over, just simply because of the what if that I have going on in my head. Alec is only 3.5 right now. He might want to play with this more when he's 4. But also, he might not, and I might just be stuck with this kitchen for another year. Really, overall, I'm just kind of done with it. I'm kind of done with it. So my husband just called me and he said, I think we're going to have to go to the hospital. He's up the school riding bikes with the boys, and Alec fell and his bottom teeth went through his lip. So I guess I'm gonna do as much as I can until they get home, and we'll regroup eventually. Just kidding, I can't do anything. I have to throw some stuff together in case, you know, like worst case scenario, we're going to the ER. Maybe we could just put this on the porch.
I'm not putting another thing on the porch. If anything, I want to get rid of stuff on the porch.
Have you even seen the porch since you've been back? It's pretty clean. Why? Okay. This dresser.
No.
What?
I don't want to do anything with it.
What do you mean you don't want to do anything
I
with it?
don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it?
I want to move it.
Like you don't physically want to move it, but you don't mind if it leaves the room.
Does that make you feel good?
I guess.
Okay, so this dresser was Jackson's dresser when this was his room. I had put some like baskets of miscellaneous cars and Hot Wheels tracks in this bottom one, like just to put something in it, but otherwise it's empty. What's up, mister? So basically it's just taking up space, but we don't necessarily have another place to put it. With the age gap between the boys, 9 and 3, obviously at some point we will cross a bridge where Jackson no longer wants to share a room with his little brother. Right now it's fine. I know at some point it won't be, and he will need his own dresser, so I don't want to get rid of it because it's a perfectly good dresser.
Sell it on eBay.
Jackson, honey, I don't think you necessarily know how eBay works. I want to at least get it out of the room though, and then I'll be forced to acknowledge it at some point. Put that somewhere special. That looks nice there.
What? Everybody's so annoying today.
What? Why is everybody so annoying?
Yes.
I've been asking myself that for the last 9 years. What if we put your kitchen in the swing set?
No.
What do you think about that?
That's
Or in the sandbox?
no, that's not fair.
That's not fair. Okay. It's the next day. Last night, I was going to wrap things up because I was able to finish everything that I wanted to accomplish in here. But after Alex split his lip, like, the injury itself was fine. It just took a lot out of him energy-wise. So he was melting down and like ready for bed by the time 6:30 rolled around. He was just very much emotionally on another level. And by the time I finally got him to sleep, I was very much emotionally on another level and I could not do any talking. I was just so drained. So here we are in the morning. Alec and I both woke up extremely refreshed. So good morning. Let's talk about what I did, where we're at, what's going, and what is staying, but more importantly, what's going. So I guess we'll start with this snake. There's another one floating around somewhere. The tail has been bitten off. These do not end up getting played with as actual snakes. They just end up hitting each other. So these are going to go torment some other mom. And then this little car playmat that Alex stabbed repeatedly with, I think it was keys. I've had this actually in a donation box in the back of my car for a little over a year now. It wasn't in my car the entire time. It was in the garage the majority of the time. But I did see it in there and I was like, oh, maybe Alec would like to drive his Hot Wheels on it. Well, it's just, I don't know. It's something about these things that make them just go berserk and they just want to fight. Same thing with this. I had this in the garage to donate. I was actually going to give this to a friend who had had a baby. Sorry, Brittany. Maybe I'll see if she still wants this. But either way, those foam pad things are going. The pieces just end up everywhere they're not supposed to be, and they're not used for what they're supposed to be used for. This Tonka truck is going to go out in the sand pit. This little stacking cup thing, it has holes in the bottom of most of the cups. So this, we don't have any bath toys anymore, which I've been fine with, but the boys do still like having little cups. So I'm going to just put this in the bathroom, and then random measuring cups and whatnot from the kitchen can stop migrating into my bathroom. So now that I've talked about the things that I'm parting with, oh, the kitchen. I still don't know what I want to do with the kitchen. Oh, the overthinking with this stuff is exhausting. Okay, tour time for real for this area, this room that we're in, and hopefully I can do this tour without standing up too much, because I don't want to do that yet. Okay, so first things first, we've got the Lego table, pretty self-explanatory. Jackson has oodles and oodles of Legos, and I am not going to declutter those just because I don't know what's what. I cannot make an educated choice to declutter his Legos. Also, he is a very creative Lego builder. And there have honestly been times where he has had an idea for a build and we haven't had the specific pieces that he needs. And we have ordered special pieces for him to accomplish his Lego dreams. So the closet, I have a wire rack in there with some shelving in there, extra Legos, and then there is a light bright set that my cousin found for the boys, like on the side of the road in the original box and everything, that they've played with a few times, but not a whole lot. And then a tote of perler beads, which my son got really into perler beads, I want to say when he was like 6 or 7, and he's 9 now. So it's been a while. Actually, I feel like we just had somebody over and they made something recently. Anyway, on those two things, I did put a piece of tape that says donate in January. And I know that if those end up getting pulled out, especially by Jackson, that tag will get taken off. And I mean, it's just going to be on my mental radar once the big declutter comes around. And then we've got our Nerf blasters. I've migrated our marble run in there, and then a little bowling set. I should probably also put a donate in January sticker on that. So that brings us over to the dresser that I moved. I don't necessarily like it in that spot. It feels kind of like it's probably bad feng shui to like walk into a room. I think I would have liked it better over by the closet, like in between this couch and the closet. But when I asked Jackson, you know, where would you prefer to have your Lego table, like where it is or over by all of the Lego bins where I guess it would kind of make sense to be, he wanted it over by the Lego bins. Okay, so the dresser. I wanted to move it out, but then I was thinking, okay, we're going to talk about the toy rotation real quick. So I've always done some kind of simple toy rotation specifically for my youngest. But once upon a time, like a few months ago, I saw a reel where a lady was, talking about like overconsumption and your kids having too much toys and like you shouldn't have to do toy rotation and blah, blah, blah. And for some reason, I took that reel very personally and felt like I was doing something wrong. Yes, we have toys. I do try to keep it as simple as possible, but I also just like don't want to get rid of things willy-nilly. And I cannot tell a lie, but it made me feel like I was failing in some way in this department. But I should not let one person's toy journey with their children, who, mind you, she has 2 children that are like within a year of each other. Like one was born and then the other one was born. Traditionally, I guess that's how it works out, but there's not a 6-year gap between her kids. And that is something that I had to remind myself, like I'm working with a big space here and I've got 2 kiddos with 2 different interests in 2 very different places developmentally. And I need to acknowledge that. I don't want to use that as an excuse to validate keeping things, but back to the dresser. I have noticed that when friends come over, the drawers to the dresser don't get opened. And I think that even for the boys, it's really not a place that they think to go for stuff. So in the bottom 2 drawers, I put things that I don't really mind them getting out. But then those toy rotation things, like I have some extra puzzles for Alec, a wooden train set, and then some other like educational manipulative things that I will, be doing counting activities with Alec. But those aren't necessarily things that I want to be out accessible for play on an everyday situation. Maybe it'll be, a toy rotation thing. For example, like on the play shelf, I have a basket of colored animals and colored bowls sort of thing. Like maybe I'll swap it out with that. So my hope for the most part is that the dresser just ends up being ignored. And then over to the toy shelf. On that shelf, I do have a basket of some blocks and wooden trees. We've got a couple baskets with some animals and little dinosaurs in it. And then a magnet and metal ball, like little building set. That was Jackson's when he was little. He played with that a ton.
Oh no.
What happened?
I'm trying to get that piece back up. Maybe I should go over here and put the bucket, try to put it in there. No, I'm just gonna rack it.
Okay.
And Alec has been actually playing with that quite a bit lately. He sticks all the pieces together and he makes what he calls a farm or a zoo, and he puts the animals like in the little segments that he creates. So that's really cute. So I have those out for him currently. And then I have a little double-sided like caddy thing that I wasn't doing anything with, and that I ended up just putting all of our music stuff in. I used to rotate our music stuff. Once the really gross, germy kind of time of year comes around, when we do have a lot of kids visiting here, like during the winter and we're doing more inside play, I will take out like the mouth stuff. But then there's our basket of Hot Wheels, the color sorter thing, and then a few puzzles for Alec, and then my wee old play school barn that was mine when I was little. A sweet little Russian nesting doll just for fun, and of course our beloved Billy Bass. And then for pretend play, I did end up keeping in here just a little baby cradle. It was one that my grandpa had made me. Kept a baby in there, a couple scarves, a cardboard sword, a few other bits and bobs. And then because the thing above the shelf had hooks, I did keep the fire suit and the construction thing. Like, it's not the end of the world. The kids can climb up on there and grab it and hopefully ignore all of Jackson's stuff that he doesn't want touched right above that. We'll see how that goes. I do have another hanging rack. I don't know if you guys noticed it above the dresser. That I do just want to migrate into the boys' bedroom so they can use that for their hoodies and stuff. But yeah, that's that. So here's what we started with. I can actually show like a before and after now. And here is where we are now. So much better. You know, it's one of those things that I'm sure that there are things that I can get rid of. I'm sure there are things in here now that I will ultimately end up parting with at some point in the future. But I do feel a lot better about where things are now. This whole situation up here, I do just want to take that curtain rod out and just get some blinds for in this room. Well, I think we've talked about all the things. Thank you so much for taking a chunk out of your day to hang out with me. Next week is, fingers crossed, my summer capsule wardrobe. I had actually filmed that with the anticipation of posting it this week, but I ended up getting an unexpected, well, it just came earlier than I thought it was going to, a delivery from a company that I'm doing a collaboration with for my summer capsule wardrobe, which I'm really excited about. It's a company that I've been like window shopping from for a couple of years now. So like over the moon with that opportunity. Hopefully the next few things trickle in over the course of the next few days so I can get that out next week. But yeah, so that's that. The decluttering though, it always feels good to get this done. And I so appreciate everybody's encouragement as I go through all of these big declutters and whatnot. It just makes it all a little bit more enjoyable. But yeah, that's all. I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. I hope you're having a wonderful summer. Enjoy the sunshine, assuming you have any. If you don't, well, stay cozy and watch some more YouTube. If you've missed decluttering videos of mine in the past, I'll link that playlist in the description below. Hope to see you all later in the next one. As always, I love you. Have fun and be kind.